Sous vide pulled pork is fork tender, and this one is just dripping in barbecue sauce. Hey, it's Jenna here from Sip by Go, and I can't wait to show you how to make pulled pork sous vide style. I'm going to take you in the kitchen, and we're going to start with a pork shoulder. You could start with something smaller, like a 2 or 3 pound, or you could start with a 4 or 5 pound pork shoulder for this sous vide pulled pork recipe. Let's do it. I'm going to show you how to season the pork, but actually the first thing you want to do is preheat the sous vide machine to 165 degrees. This is the temperature that I use for cooking for 24 hours. Now, I also love to make sous vide pulled pork 48 hours, so you could do it a little bit longer if you want, but after one day, one complete 24-hour cook time, it's really delicious and really falling apart tender. My big tip here is to add a cutting board under the sous vide machine to protect counters from the long cook time and high cook temperature for sous vide pulled pork. So while the sous vide bath preheats, rub the pork shoulder with barbecue rub seasonings. Now, you could use whatever mix you want. Most people have some sort of barbecue rub in their pantry, and any sort of blend of pork rub would be perfect for this. I drizzle a lot of barbecue sauce on later, so even if you don't have a clear-cut barbecue rub, you could always add that barbecue flavor later. So the next thing you do is reverse sear sous vide pork shoulder. So that means you sear it before sous vide cooking it. It's a really interesting way to go about cooking sous vide food because usually you cook sous vide food and then sear it, but this one is the reverse sear. So for this sous vide pork recipe, you heat a skillet to medium-high and add olive oil. And then when the pan is nice and hot, add the pork shoulder and sear each side. Now, please don't forget those edges. You want all of it completely brown so there's a nice bark on the outside. So vacuum seal or Ziploc bag your pork and sous vide it at 165 degrees for 24 hours. You're going to want to use a lid or cover the water with foil to retain moisture, and you want to check the water level of the sous vide bath regularly because actually the long cook time for pulled pork may require replenishing the water periodically. When it's done sous vide cooking, remove the pork from the hot sous vide water and transfer it to a cutting board. The pork shoulder can come out of the bag, and you don't have to pat it dry or anything like you would for a regular sous vide steak recipe. What you're going to do is you're just going to take 2 forks and get to shredding that pork. So just a reminder here, unlike other recipes, you don't need to pat dry sous vide pulled pork when you take it out of the sous vide bath. The reason is because you sear right before sous viding pork in this recipe. It's called a reverse sear, and you don't sear the pork again before serving. It's just ready to pull apart, and it has so much flavor in that bark. So just like if it was in a crock pot, you take it and you pull it apart. And on the flip side, when you sous vide porterhouse steak or sous vide prime rib, those do need to be pat dry after the sous vide bath because you don't want moisture on the outside when you do the final sear finish. You can find plenty of recipe videos for all sorts of sous vide cooks at Sip Bite Go. Hello, deliciousness. Doesn't that look so good? Ooh! I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how my family is lucky enough to be left with anything by the time dinner's ready because there's a lot of sampling that goes on in advance. Now, this is my favorite part. What you do is you drench your sous vide pulled pork with your favorite barbecue sauce and enjoy it. This is one of my favorite things. I'll just kind of eat it right off the cutting board, but I'll also put the sous vide pulled pork on tacos. I'll put it in next day breakfast sandwiches. I'll put it in pulled pork sandwiches. There's really endless things that you can do with it. Oh, and I forgot quesadillas. I do love pulled pork quesadillas. So I hope you have plenty of leftovers so you can enjoy your pulled pork sous vide style for days to come. If you're wondering what to serve with pulled pork, in this recipe you'll see I use some fresh jalapenos, shredded carrots, and a generous amount of barbecue sauce, which I drench the sous vide pulled pork in. I like to serve it on a platter with accompanying things so people can kind of mix and match their own. So I might serve it with some soft brioche bones or brioche buns, not bones, that's ridiculous, or corn tortillas. Ugh, I get so hungry every time I look at this. If you're a foodie like me, you probably like sharing all of your good eats with your friends and family. Well, sous vide tri-tip steak is definitely a great idea if you're looking for a sous vide recipe you can share with a crowd. One sous vide tri-tip can feed 4, 5, 6 people, and it's great to put with salads or make tacos. It's really pretty versatile. You could even make sandwiches, anything with it really. So I highly recommend trying sous vide tri-tip steak, adding it to your bucket list of sous vide recipes. You can find the directions on how to do this at Sip Bite Go, and don't forget to subscribe to the Sip Bite Go channel on YouTube for more delicious sous vide recipes and other really easy recipes that taste like restaurant quality food. You know that's my jam, and I have so many exciting and delicious recipes coming your way. Hey home chefs, don't forget to grab a copy of my free sous vide beginner's recipe ebook. If you think sous vide steak is delicious, wait till you try sous vide lobster, wings, corn, and more. It's like a mini preview of my popular print book, The Home Chef Sous Vide Cookbook, which is available on Amazon and has over 100 sous vide cooking recipes. I can't wait for you to check out some of my favorite dishes in this book. To get your free copy, go to freesousvidebook.com. Again, that's freesousvidebook.com. Well, I'm so excited for you to make this pulled pork sous vide recipe. You'll have to let me know when you try it. For more inspiration, check out other videos at Sip Bite Go. I hope you have a wonderful and delicious day. Cheers!